Today, I want to talk about something I see scaling businesses, and I call it the Uncoachable CEO. But let me be clear, this isn't just about CEOs, it's the issue that runs through our entire leadership teams. Today's episode is brought to you by Five. It's the 5-step growth engine built for business leaders who mean business. If you're ready to take your business to the next level, head over to five.com.au to learn more. The Uncoachable CEO is basically a metaphor. It's the leadership team that refuses to evolve. It's the ego that resists input. And it's the inability or unwillingness to acknowledge that what got you here in business won't get you there. And this matters because unchecked, it costs businesses everything: performance, progress, key staff, relationships, and even the company itself. Now, in nearly every business I work with, the real issue isn't the product, service, or the market. It's the people at the top making hiring decisions based on familiarity, not capability. And I see it constantly. The founder promotes a family member, or a CEO hires their best mate. A tactical team member is uplifted because they're being loyal or they're good at their job. But one of the most common examples is a top performing salesperson. And I see this so many times. They get their best salesperson and they make them the sales manager. In this case, you can lose your best closer and you gain a poor leader who doesn't know how to coach others, because performance, it doesn't always equal leadership. And these decisions, they feel fair, but they're expensive. You're setting up people to fail. They don't have the training, the structure, or the support, and eventually the business stalls, or worse, it starts breaking down. Here are the signs that I see in leadership, the problems that I see that really show me that there are underlying problems with the way leadership is structured, hired, and their capability. And it's decisions that constantly change, projects that stop-start, constant rebranding that quietly disappears. They just can't stick to a solid trajectory. Senior hires leave quickly, new hires don't stick, staff don't have clear targets or onboarding, and no one really knows what great looks like. I work with businesses that are really wanting to move from 6 figures to 8 figures, and across all different industries at various points in that growth trajectory, and these are the common problems. Now, the problem is then leadership starts to react instead of lead. And there's a lot of noise, but no real progress. And the culture begins to unravel from the top down. And if this sounds familiar, and it's not a one-off issue, these are really something that you need to examine. If you're seeing these problems repeat, they're structural problems. And they have the power, really, to erode the business. Not over time, but quite quickly. I've seen businesses spiral into the liquidators very, very quickly, because once key hires start to leave, contracts and customers start to disappear, that can be a very slippery slope that is very hard to come back from. Now, when you see these signs, there needs to be a review, a closer look at how your leadership team is structured, supported, and also how it's selected. The path forward, it's not really complicated, but it requires humility. You've got to, some of these leadership teams that refuse to put their ego aside, they suffer the most. You have to be willing to put your ego aside and take an honest look at how you're building your leadership structure. If you're promoting from within, it's great. It's a great idea. It really rewards people for their hard work, but don't just hand somebody a title and hope they figure it out. Give them structure and give them support. Bring in experienced operators and advisors who've done it before, who have proven results on the board. External help, where it might seem expensive, but not getting the help is really where that cost is. That's what's really going to cost you, because support from someone who's got 10 to 20 years of leadership experience, or experience in a certain capacity, proven experience, can fast track your growth by 5 or 10 years and save you from losing momentum, market share, and trust, not only in the market with your customers, but also with your internal teams. Now, Growth requires a shift from instinct to intention, from reaction to design, and really from ego to real leadership. I always say that the team, the structure that got you where you are is not necessarily going to get you where you need to be. And business is like an escalator. It's constantly moving. You need to constantly be moving forward. Otherwise, you go backwards. If you stand still or if you start to go backwards, it happens fast. So if this really hit home, it's a good thing, because recognizing this early, it really gives you the chance to fix it. Most companies recognize it when it's too late. It shows up in the numbers. They start to lose customers. Employees start to leave, and that's a slippery slope and momentum they can't stop. And I've seen businesses spiral, not just because they don't care, but because they don't act. They lose great employees. They lose momentum. They fracture friendships and, in some cases, family ties. And some even end up at liquidators. All because they don't deal with what's right in front of them, and they don't see it. They don't look at their hiring decisions. They don't get their key hires the support they need to evolve to the next level. And the truth is, it's not what you don't know that hurts you. It's actually what you don't know. And for many of the businesses that ended up at the liquidators, this was exactly what rang true, because what sent them there is what they didn't know, because they failed to put their ego aside and get in proper advisors to assist them. So ask yourself, have you outgrown the structure you've built? Are you hiring for capability or for comfort? And are you willing to get the support you need, or is ego calling the shots? Because businesses don't scale by accident, they scale by design. And the next version of your business needs the next version of you. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, join my newsletter at granthartley.com.au to get notified when the next episode goes live.